Welcome back, my lovelies. Welcome back. 10 years ago, my next guest abandoned his Ivy League dorm room and headed for China, where he spent 2 years training in martial arts with the mysterious Shaolin monks. His book about the experience is due out next year, but he's here tonight to tell us all about it. Please welcome Matthew Pauly, everybody. Matthew, you're from Topeka, Kansas, is that right?
I saw that you mentioned that.
I've never been to Topeka, but your mom has been, since we booked you, she's inundated us with baked goods. Tell her to stop. They're delicious, but stop.
Well, now that you've mentioned her, by the time she's done, you will be Drew Carey. sorry.
Maybe for the...
yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Now listen, how does a boy from Topeka, Kansas, end up going and training with the Shaolin monks? I'm fascinated by this. What happened?
Well, when I started off as a kid, you like Kung Fu, the TV show.
Kung Fu, the TV show, I loved it. Yeah,
David Carradine, coolest.
You used to wear an orange, like that color of orange.
Exactly. This is Shaolin colors for the thing. We get the orange. And he, when I was growing up, I was obsessed with Bruce Lee and all the Kung Fu movies. And then when I got to college, I started studying Chinese.
That was your major, with the foreign languages, right?
Foreign languages and religion.
Right.
And so when I talked to one of my professors and I said I was thinking about going to China for the summer, and he said, well, you should go to the Shaolin Temple. And I was like, it really exists? You're kidding me. It can't be real. Because
I didn't know it existed until I heard you were coming on the show. I thought it was, like, made up, the Shaolin Temple.
Yeah, I thought it was fictional as well. Or it was something in the past that had started now, or it had been destroyed. And the truth was that this was back in '92, and there was no internet, the Chinese embassy. No one knew where the Shaolin Temple was.
Well, how did you get to it?
Well, I told everyone I was going to do it back out.
You told everyone, where did you go to, Harvard, Princeton?
Princeton,
yes,
exactly.
Right, okay.
So I told them I'm dropping out, thank you.
That's how rich people clap.
That's right.
Princeton.
That's right.
So you're in Princeton.
I am in Princeton, and I told everyone I'm dropping out. I'm going to go out for the summer, and I ended up just booking a flight to Beijing, and I had like a photo's map, and I would go to bellhops and walk around the streets.
This is China we're talking about. It's bigger than the United States. You can't just show up and say, where's Denny's?
Well, it took like 5 or 6 days of asking people on the street, and I would point and I'd go, you know, where's the Shaolin Temple? It's like Shaolin Si Zainar. And so I would ask, and finally I found an old woman who pointed at this province, and I asked, you know, how do you get there? And she
This is like Lord of the Rings.
It's like a quest journey, and so she said...
You get to the Shaolin Temple, you eventually find it.
I do eventually find it, and of course in your head you have this image of a windswept monastery. Yeah. I'd packed a sleeping bag because I thought they'd make you stay outside for 3 months. And you are not worthy.
Prove your worthiness.
Exactly.
Yeah. They say, come on in.
Yeah. Well, what happened is the government had gotten control of it and realized they could make money off of tourists, and so they turned it into kind of like Epcot Center. So it was like Kung Fu World.
Really?
Yeah, they had like dragon cars and tacky tourist stuff, and I wandered around and I couldn't find the monks anywhere, and I kept thinking to myself, oh my God, there's no monks. I found it. There's no monks here.
Yeah.
And then in the distance I saw a bald Chinese head in orange robes, and I followed it.
It was Hare Krishna's?
It was Hare Krishna's. No, so I found some of the monks were actually...
How did they let you in? I mean, you're an outsider. You're from Kansas. You don't just walk up and say, I'd like to be a Shaolin Kung Fu master. Or did you?
Well, no, I didn't say. I said I was interested in learning, you know, I'm not worthy, and went through all the humility routine. And I was actually talking to one of the government officials who was running the school, and he said, $1,200 a month, no problem, like this.
Really?
Yeah.
And you got in?
Well, yeah, if you paid, they let you in. They were like, they were like, here's the monks, come on in, no problem. Yeah.
So how did the monks? Because these guys, what's it like in there with it? What do they do all day?
Well, that was what was interesting, is once they realized they could make money out of tourism, they kind of set up a performance hall. So the tourists would come in, and they hired some of the younger monks from the temple to come over to this performance hall and perform every day, and then teach the random rich foreigner to come and you know, teach him Kung Fu. And so their money was made from that, and then they started doing tours. So, you know, eventually they were playing Lollapalooza.
But what was your position in the temple? Were you a monk? Did you study?
Oh,
Did shave your head? And
No, well, yeah, the vow of celibacy was not working for me. So I decided I was, yeah.
Right. No, wait. You're in China, you're studying as a monk, and you weren't celibate?
Oh, no, yeah, definitely. Mom's watching, yes, absolutely.
I forgot.
Yeah.
So you're doing a lot of fight. Were you any good?
Well, when I started off, the first thing they said to me, they looked at me for a couple of days and they said, have you done any training before? And I said, well, I've done 2 years. And then they said, it looks like 2 weeks. And so,
really?
Yeah, but eventually they threw me in. I started studying kickboxing. And what I discovered was there's a lot of Chinese people who like to hit Americans. So when you were there, as soon as they heard there was an American, oh man, there was
Guys
a line.
From other villages coming in. Let's go this way.
I got him on Tuesday, you get him on Wednesday. So
you got your ass kicked for a while, yeah?
You know, that's the best way to learn. It's not the funnest way. However.
No, I know. So you're in there, you become, you're fighting, you're doing this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Did they get you into any, did they have competitions or anything?
They did. Actually, one of the big things that occurred was there was a challenge match. And then in Chinese custom, I'm sure in some of the movies you've seen, where they come in and they're like, I challenge this school. It's considered very rude, but it happens occasionally.
So who would challenge a Shaolin temple then?
Well,
crazy man,
yeah,
obviously.
Exactly, because there's a long line. You know, they'd already gotten done with me. So, they challenged the Shaolin Temple, this foreign master, and he was there with some of his students. And the monks were sitting at the table, and they were very upset, and they were talking about who should fight him. And I'd had a drink maybe or something, and I said, well, sure, I'll fight him.
Like the idea of this temple, you get laid, you drink, it doesn't matter. Yeah, you're a monk.
Yes, the disciple rules are a lot more flexible. So I said I'd fight him, not meaning it, and then they talked to themselves and they decided, you know what? If we have the foreigner fight him, foreigners aren't supposed to be any good, and he loses, that's expected, and we can see his fighting style. And if he wins, it'll humiliate them because we're so good. So they essentially, cannon fodder through me.
How'd you do?
I won. Yeah.
All right, God bless America. Matthew, thanks for coming in. It's a fascinating story. I wish we had more time.
No problem.
Matthew Pauly, everybody. Matthew's book early next year will be out. We'll be right back with Aqualung. I wish we had...